Namaste, listeners. Today is an important day for India and our people, the National Science Day. Let's then pay our respect to the great scientists of our motherland who gave their lives to give mankind several blessings. I'm Jeenamsi Ngadong, and with me is Bethem Marai from Lohit Youth Libraries, sharing with you a few thoughts on science and the common man. National Science Day is celebrated in India to remember the discovery of the Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman, which earned him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930, the first Indian scientist to win a Nobel Prize. It is also a day to salute all our scientists who have contributed to India's progress. This day marks the importance of science in our daily lives. Science is not just about labs and experiments. It's about curiosity, innovation, and progress. Science has transformed our world, from the smartphones in our hands to the medical treatments that save lives. A simple mixture of salt and sugar has saved millions of lives from diarrhea and dysentery across the world. It's ORS, developed by a little remembered Indian doctor Dilip Mahalanobis in 1966. But science is not just about the past, it's about the future. It's about the young minds that will shape the world tomorrow. As responsible citizens, it's our duty to encourage and nurture the scientific temper in our children and our youth. Arunachal too needs to emerge as a major center of innovative scientists. Listeners, many of us have grown up reading the thrilling stories of Jules Verne, the famous French author of 19th century. Verne is the father of science fiction. He had predicted many scientific innovations through his writing more than 150 years ago. Born in Nantes, France, on February 8, 1828, he lived up to 1905, and he could himself see many of his ideas become reality. Have you read Jules Verne's stories, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Around the World in 80 Days? His books not only sparked people's imagination in 19th century, they continue to inspire lakhs of people even today to think of new inventions in science and technology. He is the second most translated author in the world. Verne's works are a testament to his boundless imagination and scientific vision. Some of his notable works are Journey to the Center of the Earth, 1864. It's a pioneering novel that explores the mystery of geology and the natural world. From the Earth to the Moon, 1865, is a prophetic tale of space travel that envisioned a future where humans could escape Earth's gravity and explore universe. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, 1870, a classic underwater adventure that predicted the development of submarine, modern oceanography, and marine technology. Around the World in 80 Days, 1873, a thrilling tale of adventure and innovation that showcases one's mastery of storytelling and his vision for a more connected world. One's legacy extends beyond his writings. He even predicted the internet. His vision for a future where science and technology improve human lives continues to inspire us today. Here's our library volunteer, Bethem Marai, reading out a passage from Jules' 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Captain Nemo with his sailors, Ned, Council, and Monsieur, were on a long sacred journey underwater in his submarine, Nautilus. And suddenly, somewhere in a southern hemisphere, the ship is blocked by a huge iceberg. What happens next? Listen to the story from Sailor Monsieur.
We now had to make a plan for escaping, since March 21 was the beginning of long polar night. It would be another 6 months before the sun shone here again. The Nautilus air tanks were filled and it slowly sank beneath the surface. We began heading north again, At 3 o'clock the next morning, done! A violent blow threw me out of the bed. The ship was leaning on its side, but I managed to crawl into the lounge. Ned and Conseil were there. We sat stunned for several minutes until Captain Nemo came rushing in. Have we had an accident? I asked. Yes, monsieur, an accident of nature. It seems that an enormous iceberg had turned over. As its base rose up, it trapped us between that base and the underside of ice on the surface. We are in a kind of ice turner, Professor, but the Nautilus can still get out of by moving forward or backward. Just then, the propellers started up. We were underway, traveling forward at high speed, but 2 hours later, bang! The Nautilus collided with something ahead. It was a wall of ice. There was not enough room in the turner to turn around, so the engines were reversed and we began moving backward. For 3 hours, the Nautilus sped south through the ice tunnel, but at 8 a.m.,
Crash!
a second collision took place. Captain Nemo entered the lounge in his diving suit and explained, Our route to the south is now blocked too. The iceberg had closed off every opening, but we shall not die without trying everything possible first. We still have a 3 days supply of air, and we shall breathe as we try cutting ourselves out through the walls of ice. Ned then spoke up. Captain Nemo, I'm as good with a pickaxe as I'm with the harpoon. Thank you, Mr. Land, said the captain. We shall need everyone's help. My man and I have just been checking the thickness of ice outside. Above us, it is 13 feet thick. On the sides, 50 feet thick. And below us, 30 feet thick. Therefore, we shall start digging a trench on the floor of ice up to the side of ship. Ned left with the captain to join the first group at work. After 2 hours, Conseil and I joined the second group. We alternated shifts for the next 12 hours, but we were able to remove only 3 feet of ice. If work continued at this rate, we would need 5 nights and 4 days to cut through the ice, but we only had 2 days of air left in the reservoir. And then, even if we managed to dig ourselves free, who knew how long it would be until we could surface get fresh air? And then, even if we managed to dig ourselves free, who knew how long it would be until we could surface and get fresh air? By the next day, the ice overhead on the sides of Turner had frozen thicker. How long it would be before the walls and the ceilings came together and crushed us. The air on the boat was becoming more and more difficult to breathe. Whatever was in the tank had to be saved for the men on the work out on the side. But even the supply would be empty the day after tomorrow. Hours after hours, we chopped away at the ice. 13 feet remained, then 10, then 6. But the air reservoir were now almost empty. The 2 days were up. The men on the ship were overcome with terrible weariness from the lack of fresh air. Some were unconscious, few were close to death. Still 3 feet of ice remained. The work was going too slow for us to survive. Then Captain Nemo decided to try crushing the last 3 feet of ice with the ship itself. Even though he was breathing as little air as we were, he still managed to think, plan, and act.
What happens next? If you want to know more, read the immortal classic 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. As we celebrate National Science Day, we also acknowledge the contributions of modern science fiction writers in India. Do you know that the famous film director Satyajit Ray wrote thrilling science fiction stories? Today, scientist Sukanya Datta's stories demonstrate how science fiction can educate and inspire us. Magazines like The Science Reporter regularly conduct science fiction story writing contests. This vacation, let us encourage our students to read science fiction books of Jules Verne and others. On National Science Day today, let us remember the power of science to transform our lives and our world. And let us inspire the next generation of scientists, engineers, and innovators to pursue their dreams and make a difference in the world. Let's conclude with a quote from Sir C.V. Raman. Quote, "The essence of science is independent thinking, hard work, and not equipment." Unquote.
Greetings to all listeners on National Science Day.